Today on our 2019 Ford Transit T350, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the CURT Class 4 2-inch hitch receiver. Your Ford Transit can do a lot of different things. It can haul a lot of people if you are using it for recreational use, so you can use it for a bike rack or anything like that. With it being able to carry a lot of people, they're going to have a lot of stuff. So this is also going to be great for your cargo carriers to get a lot of that cargo out of the inside of the Transit and onto the outside on that carrier. This is just a way to kind of free up some space on the inside of your Ford Transit. Ford Transits can also be used for a lot of towing applications. So for a 2-inch ball mount or anything like that, to be able to haul some stuff with you is also going to be something that would work really well with your Ford Transit. And one thing I would definitely recommend adding with your 2-inch hitch receiver is some trailer wiring, just because if you are hauling something, we are going to have some sort of electrical connection to that trailer so all the lights and everything works properly. And if you are hauling some heavier trailers and equipment, you do want to take a look at some of our brake controllers. That is just going to save the brakes on your Ford Transit and be able to transfer power back to your trailer so you can utilize your trailer brakes to slow down that bigger load. The CURT Class 4 is going to have the largest capacity of all the other ones on our site. So the gross trailer weight is going to be a maximum of 8,000 pounds, but if you are using a weight distribution system on your trailer, you can get this all the way up to 10,000 pounds of gross trailer weight. When it comes to tongue weight, the capacity is going to be 800 pounds, but with that weight distribution system, it's going to go all the way up to 1,000. It's not a whole lot more than the other ones on our site, like the etrailer hitch receiver, but if you do plan on hauling heavier stuff, this is the most heavy-duty 2-inch hitch receiver for your Ford Transit. A couple of useful measurements from the center of the hitch pin hole to the closest part of our bumper. It's going to be 8 inches. That is going to let you know if you're going to need a extension for some of your accessories, so they're going to fit without making any contact to your bumper. And then from the ground to the top inner lip of our hitch receiver, that's going to be 14 inches. That's going to help you determine whether the ball mount needs to have a rise or a drop with whatever trailer you may be hauling. The next thing we need to do is show you how to install. You can do this yourself. Just follow the steps that we go through and stick around for that. First thing to do with any installation is make sure that you had all the correct hardware. 1, we want to make sure we have the hitch. 2, we're going to have 4 different carriage bolts. We're going to have some plates right here for those carriage bolts, some washers and some nuts. And we are going to get some pull wires with our kit as well. So we'll just check those boxes and make sure everything's there. As far as tools of what you're going to need for the install, we're going to need a power drill. You are going to need a 9/16 drill bit. We're going to need a ratchet, 3-inch extension, a 15mm socket, a torque wrench, and some silicone spray is going to be nice to have. And of course, some safety glasses for safety, of course. Look at the back of your Transit. On the passenger side, if you do have a tow hook like this, we are going to have to remove it. There's going to be 2 bolts, one here and one here. We're going to use a 15mm socket to get these off. And once we have it off, we can set this to the side because we are not going to use this anymore. Taking the extra couple of minutes to lower that spare tire because there's so much more room to work with. So it's going to be a lot easier to remove these bolts. So we're going to have 2 on this side, 2 on the others. All you need is your power drill and a 15mm socket. We can do that same thing on the other side. The 3-inch extension might be needed depending on your drill, because we do have a little bit of a heat shield from our exhaust that protects it from our spare tire getting too hot. There we go. To make the next step a little easier, grab a friend, and what we're gonna do is take those bolts we just removed and just one of them on each side, and we're only going to insert it here. Once we put our hitch up into place, we're only gonna put one on each side. Just like that. Line this one up like that. Just threaded it in enough. And then we're gonna rotate this up all the way into place. Look on your driver's side, right where this tab is going to line up. You're gonna see a really small hole right there. I'll outline it a little bit. So there's one on the driver's side, but there's not one on the passenger side. So we put this up into place, and this is pretty much where it's gonna sit. So I'm going to mark this, and then we're going to remove the hitch so we can drill both of these out. Now we pivoted this hitch down. I'm just gonna let it hang here for a little bit. So now you can see the hole on the driver's side of your Transit a little bit better. And now we're gonna use this 9/16 drill bit to drill this out. You kind of wanna wobble that back and forth just because we might want to make it a little bit bigger, not much, just to make it a little bit easier for our hardware to go through. And now that we have this side done, we can go ahead and do our passenger side. You might want to take a punch or something to get a little start at it, or use a smaller drill bit and then step up to the 9/16 after the pilot hole is drilled. Make sure you get a nice little hole going where it doesn't walk. Now we can step up to the big boy, 9/16, just like the other side. Same with the other side. Maybe just go through, kind of wobble it back and forth to make it a little bit bigger to make sure that hardware is going to go through there nice and smooth. This is going to be the same thing on both the passenger and driver side. We're on the driver side right now. What we want to do is take our fish wire right here, the little coiled part, that hole that we made a little bit bigger, we're going to go through there, and it's going to come out the top right here. And you'll take the plate, this will go on first. Then you're going to take our bolts and just thread that on. It's very satisfying. Make sure you get all those threads going like that. And then we're going to fish this through into that rail. You don't want to pull too hard. We want to be nice and gentle with it. Make sure that everything gets down there. You might have to help guide it a little bit. And don't force it. We're going to get this bolt down through there, just like that. And we can take this fish wire off. We have multiple in our kit, but if we salvage this one, we can use this same exact one for the next one, which is going to be up a little bit closer to the front of the vehicle. This one's going to be a little bit easier. Same deal, coil part goes through this hole, and it's going to come out here. I'm going to put the plate on first, thread this on, and once that's done, same exact deal, guide it in there ever so gently, and this one's much easier. So we're going to do that same exact thing for our passenger side, the same exact holes, just on that side. We got all of our hardware loosely installed, both in the back and in the front on both sides. But what you want to do is you want to take your washer, see these little teeth? You want those to face up. And then you kind of use the washer to kind of push this thing to the side to make sure it doesn't go back up into that hole. So you can put this nut on, just like this. Get it hand tight. and then we'll come back through here to tighten it up. Now we want to go through with the torque wrench and torque them down to the specifications in our instructions. And that's going to be for all the hardware that we had. We can do the rest the same exact way. The factory hardware that we removed in the beginning, we're going to replace those as well. And to remind you, it's going to be right up here. Once we get those all the way threaded in and tightened down, then we can go ahead and put our spare tire back up into place. That's pretty much it for our look at the CURT Class 4 2-inch hitch receiver on our 2019 Ford Transit T350.